So we're live on Facebook and on YouTube. This is Supporter in association with Football Freak. আমি শানুর আছি। আমার সাথে আজকে দুজন ম্যানচেস্টার ইউনাইটেড ফ্যান আছে। একজনকে আমরা usually দেখি আমাদের সাথে জয়েন করে Amit Hassan. Amit, welcome to the show. And we also have a very special guest. He is none other than Zidan Miah. He's currently in the UK and he's at the moment playing for Bromley FC. So Zidan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me as well.
We've got a bunch of questions for you, obviously. So without further ado, I'm just going to go through a few of them. I'm going to ask a question, and I'm sure Amit's going to have a question for you. So the first question is, your name is Zidan, but you are a big fan of David Beckham. So how did that happen? And how do you rate Zidan now that you see him regularly coaching Real Madrid as well? I don't know if you got to see him play.
Good question. I obviously started playing at the David Beckham Academy here in England. So growing up, I was a huge fan of David Beckham. Zinedine Zidane was a little bit before my time, so I wasn't able to watch him play live or week in, week out. But from what I've seen, he's obviously one of the best players of all time. Definitely one of the best of his generation, and he's definitely up there, top 5 in the world in my opinion. And David Beckham, he was amazing. He was a free kick specialist. He could play a 60-yard pass straight to your feet. I mean, he was, in my eyes, he is the best free kick taker of all time. And obviously, being a very technical player myself, and taking a lot of free kicks and corners, I obviously look up to him.
I see.
Fair enough. David Beckham and his set pieces, yeah.
Amit.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. Like, you've left Arsenal in England. You were in Arsenal Academy, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So what made you, move to US, and why did you leave? And what made you take that decision? Can you just give us from Arsenal Academy you moved to US, right? So can you tell us a bit about that journey and everything?
The journey came up from one of my coaches at Arsenal, because I was always a very technical player, but I was never the strongest or the quickest. And they were I always had to improve the physical side of my game, and obviously with it being England, it's very physical, and the US game is very different. And the way they nurture talent in the US, and the way they develop not just you as a player, but also as a person. It was something that we had to think about as a family. But after going to the US twice and visiting it, we made the decision to move out with me, my mum, and my younger sister, and my dad and my older sister stayed in England.
All right. Zidan, how are things right now in the UK? Obviously, we've got the Premier League back, which is a big relief. Actually, for football fans, but not for Arsenal fans so far. But what's the situation there, and what's like your daily routine at this moment?
At this moment, nobody knows what's happening because of COVID-19 and the pandemic. But it's slowly getting better as time goes on. But we're nowhere near to the point where life can go back to how it was before. We're still not training yet. I know the Premier League back, the Championship is back, but we don't know. We're waiting on government advice, and the club's waiting on government advice. And until that happens, we don't know. We've been given a routine and a program to stay fit, and we have to check in with the club every week to make sure we're keeping up with that. And then whenever we go back, we just have to be ready, because whenever we are allowed to play again, we just have to be fit and ready to go, because the season is going to start late, and you're going to have a lot of games crammed into a short space of time. And I think everybody's noticing with the Premier League, it's not to the level that what it was before, and a lot of players are getting injured and stuff like that, because no matter how much you do by yourself, nothing can replicate football, and nothing can replicate that 90 minutes of intensive work. It doesn't matter how much you run, how much you can do stuff by yourself. Nothing, especially the competition aspect, nothing will replicate that. And as for my daily routine, it's I have a coach that I'm working with that helps me, and he's training me to be ready to go back as fit as I can be. And then I have the program from Bromley Football Club to keep me fit.
Great,
Right.
great. It's all about getting into the groove, no matter what, right?
Yep,
No matter what, it's 90 minutes that matters.
yep.
Yeah, Shanu, please.
So you like to play on the left wing and on the attacking midfield. Those are
Yep.
your preferred positions. So uh, apart from Beckham, who would you like to follow in terms of players currently, or maybe players before as well? Who are your idols in
Play,
terms of footballers?
Players currently, I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, I know he plays more as a number 9 as a striker now, but in his early days, I think it was on this day in 2009, he was bought by Real Madrid, and he was the most expensive player of all time.
Mm.
And I mean, what he does, the way he carries himself, the way he is. I mean, I think 34 if I'm not wrong, and he
35,
has
yeah.
the, oh, 35 even.
Yeah.
He has the body of a 20-year-old. I mean, the way him and Lionel Messi, the way they've just kept going and going and going, and been so consistent over these last 15, 10 years has been amazing. And I followed, because obviously being a Manchester United fan, I followed his journey from when I was really young. And to watch him come from a young boy from Portugal, 18, 19 years old, to being where he is now, 5 Ballon d'Ors, everything like that, it's amazing to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah. So, Zina, I had a question. Like, you were training in Arsenal Academy, right? So when you
Yep.
moved to US, what were the differences in training?
mm.
As you've said, England was much more physical. So how was US different to England?
The US was they focus on every small aspect of your life, your sleep, your eating, your training, everything. I mean, everything I had was monitored, which was it was a complete change for me because
Yeah.
um, every little detail they looked at, and every if they could make you that 1% better, that small 1% change. I mean, football is all about those small details,
Yeah.
and they looked at everything, and I think that's what separated it from the training here in England. Because when I moved out, I actually had an injury. I had a stress fracture on my right foot, and I was out for 4 months.
Yeah.
And within that 4 months, I was in a boot for 3 months. I was almost like a cast on my leg. And in that 4 months, they worked on just my upper body. And when I came back to football, you could see the difference. You could see I was now going shoulder to shoulder players. And even though at the time, I was quite small, and you could see I was going up against bigger players and being more physical and having that extra confidence.
All right. So you were telling that uh, they had most of the field, of the field training rather than on the field, something like that. That
Yep,
they focused on off the field things more than the on the field
yep,
things, right? All right,
yes.
all right, all right. Please. Yeah.
So in Leicester, we can already see Hamza Chaudhary. He's obviously got a Bangladeshi mother. He's playing there. A lot of people are expecting you to slowly make your way up the ladder as well and play in the Premier League sometime down the line. So obviously, you're a Manchester United boy, or you're a Manchester United fan. That's your boyhood
Yep.
club. That we could say that. Do you have any aspirations of playing in any other club as well in the Premier League, or maybe around the Premier League, maybe in the Championship? Do you have any second choice or any other club that you'd like to play in?
What I would definitely say is you never know what can happen in football. One day you can be playing for a championship club. Next day you can be playing in League One. You can be playing
Yeah.
Championship. You can go to Premier League. I would always say never in football, and I'm not going to say I'm not going to play for a specific club, because if a club did come after me and it's right for my career, why would I ever say no? I think once you get to that level, if you look at someone like Raheem Sterling, he supported Manchester United when he was young, and he played for Liverpool and Manchester City, who are the two biggest rivals of Manchester United. So I don't think I could ever say I would decline a club just because I support Man United. I love Manchester United and I support them. But if someone like Manchester City came in, I think I'd be a fool to say no.
True,
Or
true.
maybe Arsenal.
Or maybe Arsenal.
But like you two were saying, Andy Robertson is a very good example how his career turned up, right? From Celtic,
Yes.
he was a reject, to be honest, right? So now he's
Yeah.
he's a Champions League winner and a Premier League winner. So I'm pretty sure all the youngster even can look at his journey and get inspired
Yeah.
and motivated. That's a
I
very good
actually
thing. Yeah,
Andy Robertson, he was released by Celtic.
yeah.
Then he went to a low league team in
Dundee.
Scotland. From there, he got picked up by Hull. He
Yeah,
got relegated with Hull, promoted with Hull, and then relegated again. Then from
yeah,
there, he
yeah.
went to Liverpool, and everybody was shocked. And now he's one of the best left backs in the world. So football is unpredictable, and that's why I say you can never say never.
True, true.
Absolutely. Everyone remembers that tweet when he was, I think, 16 or 17. Nusayr Andalib, he's asking if you could refuse one team in England, who would it be and why would it be? Tottenham. He's also an Arsenal fan. On, on to some more serious questions in comparison. So, do you follow football here in Bangladesh? If you do you have any players that you like in the local scene or in the national team?
Wherever I am, I always try and look at Bangladesh because that's where I'm from. That's my heritage. But obviously, being in the US, it was with the time difference and everything. It was quite hard to be able to follow the Bangladeshi league, and especially because in the US they only show the Premier League, so you don't get no Championship or no League
They
One or
don't show
League
the
Two.
league here either.
No,
Just so
the,
you know.
so it was very difficult to follow, but slowly, I'd like to start following the Bangladeshi Premier League.
That's it. That's my answer to I would like to. If we get more coverage.
Yeah, we would
Working
like
on
to
that.
follow as well.
So, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I'll be working on that. So
yeah,
hopefully, we'll see that.
yeah.
Amit, do you have any questions, or
Yeah.
I
So
can?
yeah, I have a question. Like when you moved to US, like you were saying, your mom and sister moved with you as well, right? Your
Yeah.
father and the elder sister stayed in UK. So how what more sacrifices you made? What made you in? Because it's very difficult for
Yeah.
any professional, to move from a country to another country, and you being young with the family, I'm pretty sure not just your mom and sister and even your dad make a lot of sacrifices for you. So
Yeah.
can you give us a bit detail about that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I have to say a huge thank you to my family because without them, not just my mum, my dad, and my sisters, it's my whole
yeah,
extended family, my cousins, my aunties, my uncles, my grandparents, even.
yeah,
They all made sacrifices, and I remember when before we left to go to the US, it was a big change because no one in our family, no one within the support network that we knew had ever done something like that, taken a 12-year-old kid and gone to the other side of the world. Especially with it being the US. If it was somewhere in Asia, then we have some understanding of it. The US was completely different. I mean,
yeah,
before I visited the US in 2011, I'd only gone to US once when I was really young, and I think I was maybe 2 or 3. So I hadn't I hadn't been there when I could remember it, and all of a sudden I'm moving there now. So it was a huge sacrifice for my family because you know what for my grandparents they couldn't see their grandson, for my uncles and aunties they couldn't see their nephew, and it was okay. So how are we going to adapt now? Because I'm not living with my dad anymore. I'm not living with my sister anymore. So I have to say a huge thank you to them for everything they did and they still do for me even to this day. Because it was very hard to say goodbye to the family here and then go to the US, but they saw the opportunity that we had and they saw that this can help my development, and if it can help then why would we not do it?
good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nusar also writes that Zidan Miah's accent is so satisfying. We were actually talking about that before the show started. So I've got another question for you, and that is, what sort of football? What's your preferred style? Do you like physical, or do you like possession based? England have a tradition, or the Premier League is probably the most physical and the fastest league in the world, whereas USA it's a bit more tactical. So which one did you or do you enjoy more?
I've definitely played both. So from I understand what you're saying about the US, because when I played, it's kind of like Spain, how it's slower, but it's more tactical based and it's more
More
possession
technical.
based. And I think that's what I was going to say. Technical players in that environment can excel, but here in England, it's more, especially when you go to the lower leagues. It's more physical and it's the game's a lot quicker, so you have less time to think. And it's I think you can adapt to either way. I personally prefer, because I'm a very technical player, I prefer possession based. But if someone is going to get physical, then I'm not going to say I'm going to back down from the challenge.
So I have a question for you. So the differences between UK and US was, you had more time on the ball, right? You had more time
Yes.
on the ball. In UK, you had less time on the ball. So if you had more time on the ball, people would be coming on your face, and yeah, right.
Yes.
Got it.
This is a common question that I'm sure you face a lot, and I'm going to take this. Shoaib Smith is asking, if you had to choose one team between England, Bangladesh, and I'll add USA as well. Let's say you have the choice between three teams. Which one would you choose, and why? It's a common question, Bangladeshi football fan.
It's a
Among
cliche question, yeah.
yeah.
I'm not trying to sound greedy, but I want to play for all of them. But no, if I had to pick, I think it's kind of like the question we had before. I would never say never, and I would never disregard a team. I'd never disregard England, US, or Bangladesh. I would never say that I'm going to play for one team, because then if another team came in for me, then I wouldn't be able to play for them. But it's kind of like the question we had before. I think we have to wait and see my development, and if the opportunity comes, then we see when the time comes.
I'm pretty sure it's too early to, tell such things, and you have to
judge.
you have to do what's convenient for you, for your career. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
yeah. So I had another question. Like, from US, you came back to England again. So what is the reason behind that?
The reason behind that was in the US, from the age of 18 to 22, you go into what they call college soccer or college football. And for me personally, I had multiple scholarships to be able to play in the US and continue my career out there. But I mean, football for me and my family and everything has been in England. Both my sisters and my mum still live in the US. But I think when I went out there, it was always in my mind that at some point I'm going to come back. And I think that's just purely because Europe is the main hub for football. And if it's not England, then it's Spain. If it's not Spain, then it's Germany. And then you have Portugal, and you have so many different countries. So I think always in the back of my mind, I knew that at some point I would come back.
No, got it. Like, for a pro footballer, you will always want to play for European clubs, or I get it. That's why you moved to it. Got it. So I can see even Stuart Watkins is one of the coaches. He told you to choose England, choose Bangladesh.
Yeah, I was just looking at the comment, and now, so moving on, let's ask a few more questions. Who's your favorite coach in world football that you've seen, and maybe that you've worked with, and why?
Do you want past or present, or one of each?
One of each. Like someone that you like watching in football. It could be someone like a Pep Guardiola, maybe an Arsene Wenger, Sir Alex, and of course, Currently, the ones that you've played with, played under, do you have a favorite?
I'm not gonna say I have a favorite that I played under because I think that would be disrespectful to the other coaches that I've worked with. But I have worked with a lot of very high level coaches in the US and in England too. But past coach, I'd have to say Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, he was at one club for I think over 20 years,
Yeah.
and he won 13 Premier League titles, and he won everything there is to win in England, and he did it so consistently. And if you look at his career at the beginning, he was so close to losing his job, and then he turned it around. And I think it shows. I I think you can compare him to someone like Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi because they've been at that top level and they've done it for so many years on end, and consistently. And I think in today's game, a manager that I love is Pep Guardiola. I mean, he's very possession based and he loves to attack. I mean, if you watch any of the teams that he's coached, he's won wherever he's gone, and I don't think that's luck. I think that's because of the way he's set up and the way he manages his teams and his players. I mean, his man to man managing is one of the best that I've ever seen. I mean, if you look at Raheem Sterling before he came and now, I mean, Raheem Sterling is probably one of the top five players in the world. And before he came, it was, I mean, he was nowhere near that. No disrespect to him, but that just shows how much he's
Yeah.
improved over that time.
Sure, sure.
True, true.
Amit.
Yeah. So, so I was like, I had a question like, uh, what's your target from here? You at the moment, uh, you're playing, you're a Bromley player, FC Bromley player. So what's your target? All the athletes have a short term or a long term vision or a plan. So what's your plan, short term and long term? Can you just share it with us?
Short term is very simple. It's just keep my head down, keep focused, and keep working hard. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, last season wasn't the best because I came back to England and I had a major injury. And I've been out since September. I tore my meniscus. I don't think a lot of people know, but I came back. I tore my meniscus in September, and then I had an operation in October, and I was out from September all the way until the end of February. And I actually went to the US for my treatment because it was such a big injury. I had
Yeah.
the club approved it for me to go back, and it was like it was such a big shock because one day I was training and then, you know, I had a tackle, really bad tackle, and I tore it. I was on crutches for 10 weeks. I couldn't walk. I couldn't bend my knee. I couldn't do anything. I was in a brace from my hip all the way to my ankle, and it was really hard. I mean, I've never been from when you're young, you're able to walk unless something drastic happens. You're able to walk, and for all of a sudden one day it's taken away from you, and you have to survive and live on crutches. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a big shock to the system. And I was on crutches for exactly 10 weeks, for exactly 70 days,
Okay.
and when I came back, it was like learning to walk again, and learning to kick a ball again, and learning to run again. It was so many different things, and the injury. They said to me at the beginning, they said, "I'm sorry, but your season's finished." I said, "My season's finished. I've only played. I mean, it's only September. How can my season be finished?" So I worked hard. I worked as hard as I could. They said it would be a 9 month injury. I did it in 4 months, and when I came back to England, I did 2 weeks with the medical staff, and I did one full week of training with the rest of the team, and COVID-19 happened. But I think I take everything in my stride, and I don't look at anything as a bad thing. You always try to find the positive side of things.
That's
So short term goal would be, I haven't played a game since the injury, so
competitive
get
game.
back
Yeah.
into so get back into the injury. I mean, it's very different when you're tackling your teammates versus tackling them in a game. It's two very different things, and the biggest thing that they said to me from the injury was mental. It's all mental because you know what, you can go into a tackle again because your knee is actually stronger than what it was before, but it's the mental side of it, thinking, am I gonna get hurt? Am I gonna hurt again? Am I gonna do this? Am I gonna do that? So short-term goal would be, start playing competitively again, and work as hard as I can, because I am better off after this injury. My knee is stronger. I feel better after this injury, and I feel like my right knee is better than what it was before. And long-term goal is just, focus on my development and just keep working hard and keep my head down. And, never say never in football, because anything can happen.
Absolutely.
True.
In 2014, Ludwig de Cruyff, who was our coach back then, so he was looking to find talents, Bangladesh origin talents all over the world, and obviously that's how you were found. What happened after that? Could you tell us about that experience and the events that followed?
Of course.
Like the whole journey with BFF, right? With BFF
Yeah,
and you,
yeah,
any the
Um,
context and everything. Can you just share it with us? Yeah.
yeah. The contact with BFF everything has been through my dad. So they've contacted my dad and they've spoken to my dad. They haven't. I haven't spoken directly with anybody, just because I had to. At the time, it was when he contacted us. It was I was signing for a new club. I just moved to Dallas. I was signing for FC Dallas, and he basically just said, "Look, we think you're talented, and we want to keep you on our radar." I haven't spoken to him personally. I haven't been in contact with him or anything like that. He's spoken to my dad, and I think my dad can elaborate more on that. But that's
Yeah.
it.
Fantastic. Amit,
Yeah. So you're a young player yourself, right? So you have been playing for Bromley. So what advices you have for a young player, coming up to the ranks? So what advice would you give, for the young players in Bangladesh or in any countries out there? Like you have gone through two countries. You've played in US, you've played in
Yep.
UK. In the short career of you're 19, right? So what suggestion advices would you give to the young players out there?
Young to all the young people listening, it's very simple. It's you have to love the game. You have to enjoy the game. I think if you don't enjoy it, then there's no worth playing. You have to get up in the morning. You have to look forward to training, because if you think of it like a job or think of it as a chore that you have to do, you're gonna lose love for the game. And you have to enjoy the game, and don't take everything too seriously. If a coach tells you no, then you know what, take it as advice, take it as an opportunity to learn and grow. And I think you have to love the game and you have to enjoy it, because at the end of the day, it's a game. You're playing a game of football, and if you don't enjoy it, then there's no worth in doing it.
absolutely.
True.
So you were talking about rehabbing from a pretty bad injury and a torn meniscus. It's not good. So what are the things that you've learned from that injury? Did you have to make any lifestyle changes, maybe with diet, maybe with exercise? Obviously, you spoke about the mental aspect of it, but
Yeah.
did you have to change up your routine or anything like that?
Certainly. I mean, I went from training every day to lying in bed every day, because the way the injury was, it was basically the worst that it could be, because I had a piece of my meniscus that flipped into my kneecap, and
Mm,
my kneecap was locked. It was bent, so I couldn't straighten it because I had a little piece inside my kneecap that had to be taken out during surgery.
mm,
So I went from training twice a day every day to lying in bed for 24 hours a day, and being in so much. I mean, my knee was twice the size of the other knee when it happened, because it was that gruesome. And it wasn't fun. But it definitely taught me a lot. Physically, I couldn't train. I couldn't do anything. I not even upper body, because the way the meniscus is, it's between your two bones. And basically, if I had put any pressure on it, then it would have tore it even more. So we couldn't afford to take no risks. So it was basically that 10 weeks when I was on crutches, I couldn't do anything. I had to wait to get the surgery, because obviously I had to go to the US and get the surgery and everything. And after the surgery, it was 6 weeks. I was not allowed to put any pressure on the knee, because I had normally they put 3 stitches in your knee. They put 5 in mine because it was so bad.
All right.
And when they put the stitches in, they said, look, you can't put no pressure on the knee until the blood has covered the stitches. Because if you put any pressure on the knee, you're gonna basically tear out one of the stitches, and we're gonna have to do surgery all over again. So because of that risk, I wasn't allowed to train, because if you're training upper body and all of a sudden you slip and you put pressure on the knee, then it wasn't worth it. And because of the length of the injury, I always knew in my head that, you know what, I'm gonna have this time off and I'm gonna have this break that I didn't want it. But as soon as we start training again, I know that I can get back to the level that I was before or even better. And I think I can safely say, and my support network around me and my coaches and everybody that has saw me before the injury and after the injury, they can say that, you know what, after the injury, it might have been a long time and I might have lost one season, but you know what, I look better after the injury.
So
Absolutely.
I have a question regarding this as well. So when you were down and out, what was going
Yeah.
through your mind? So were you thinking, where's my career going from here? I'm pretty sure every athletes go through that. Can you share a bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really, really, really hard time um because of the nature of the injury. I've never had a serious injury apart from this one. I've never had an injury where it stopped me from training even upper body. I've never had an injury where I've been on crutches. So when it happened, and I kind of was able to. I At first, I'll be honest, I didn't want to accept it. I said, no, this isn't true. This isn't happening to me, and
Yeah, yeah.
I denied it because it was so hard to accept. But then once I accepted it, and I thought, what's the best way we can move forward? What's the best way that I'm going to be better than what I was before? Because I took it, instead of it knocking me down, I took it as a chance to be able to grow and to learn something. And you know what? It taught me that, football can be taken away from anybody at any minute. One day you're training, and then one day you're on a hospital bed having surgery. So I learned to not take anything for granted. You know what? You work hard, and you try and do the best that you can, and you know what? If that gets you to the top, then that's great. And that injury, it taught me a lot on the mental aspect of things, because I never gone anything. I never had to go through anything like that, because all the injuries I'd had before was, okay, you're going to be out for maybe 1 month or maybe 1.5, 2 months. And the only big injury I had before that was the one in 2013. So I took it as a chance to grow, and you know what? I still have the scars from surgery, and every time I look at it, it kind of reminds me, you can't take anything for granted, and
True.
you're in this position that you're in, and you have to accept that you have an opportunity in front of you, and you have to do something with it.
All
True.
right.
True.
The person that injured you, do you still have contact, or?
It was It was a teammate. It was a teammate, and it wasn't done on purpose or anything
No,
like
of
that.
course
I'm
not.
not gonna say.
It's
It
never
it
on
was
purpose.
it was just it was one of them. It was one of them tackles where it was 50-50, and either I was I was gonna go for it or I was gonna back off. And the way that I am, I was never gonna back off from a challenge. And we both went into it, and he apologized and everything. He said sorry. And he checked up on me regularly, make sure I was okay after surgery. All my teammates did, just to see how I was doing. And I think at the time we didn't realize how bad the injury was. Um,
Yeah.
it was just a tackle where you can either walk off and be fine, or you can injure yourself really badly, like I did. I mean, I've gone into those challenges my whole career and nothing's happened.
Mm.
So that's another thing about the mental side, because I think, you know what, am I going to get hurt or something like that? So I think
That's the most
the
difficult part. Yeah.
yeah, but
Get through it.
but the way I've been after the injury, I've been fine, and hopefully when we get into a game, whenever that is again, we'll see how it goes. But the guy who did it, I mean, he's a teammate. He's still a friend of mine.
Yeah. No, we can see you.
Yeah. Yeah. We can see you. We can see you. Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
So, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all
Um,
good.
So yeah, the guy was he was very sorry and apologetic about everything. So there's I don't think there's any bad blood between us.
Right.
That's
Uh,
Shanur,
so
anything? Yeah,
yeah, definitely. So
yeah.
you know, when it comes to your career's trajectory right now, so you were spotted at a
Yeah,
very young age, and you're still very young, um, and you've been in the spotlight from such a very young age, especially in Bangladesh. There's a lot of people that are expecting you to sort of maybe one day play for Bangladesh, maybe like how Jamal Bhuiya is doing right now. So how has it been to deal with that sort of expectation, from a young age? Do you ever feel like there's a bit of pressure on you to do that? Your family is very supportive at the same time, so
yeah,
both ways it could sometimes be good, it can sometimes be bad, because you feel like, okay,
yeah.
they're doing so much, then I have to really deliver.
You know what? I think pressure can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. Some people like Cristiano Ronaldo love it, and
Yeah.
some players crumble under pressure.
Mm.
But me personally, I've never felt, oh, I had to do this and I had to make it to the top. It was always I wanted to do it and I wanted to be the best that I could be. So I think there's no pressure. I think I put the most pressure on myself to be the best that I can be. And any added pressure, like from um, family members or fans or anything like that, you know what? I think it wouldn't amount to the amount of pressure I put on myself to keep myself at the highest level and be the best that I can be. So in a way, I do like the pressure. But in some ways, in some contexts, it can crumble you, if that makes sense. But no, I think I I put the most pressure on myself to keep myself the best that I can be.
Absolutely. Gonna go through a few comments, if we may. And on YouTube, Keith is writing, "This young man has all the attributes to reach his dreams. It's a fact of life that luck is involved, but if it's down to mental approach and dedication, he will succeed." I think your father is also involved here
Yeah.
in the comments. And who's a better free kick taker, your father or Zidan Miah? Love you, Zidan. So
See,
he's very
that's the answer.
supportive.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to playing football and in the career that you've had so far, you've said that never say never. So in the meantime, so what's the plan going to be? Do you have like particular goals set for yourself? Although you're open to opportunities everywhere, do you have like any goals that you want to do this when you're 20?
Yeah,
You want to do this when you're 23? Things like that.
I've I've always had goals for myself, and I've always me and my dad we're very close, and I think I'd just like to say I'm a better free kick taker than him. I've got videos of me scoring goals. He hasn't got a single one. So I think I'm the better one when it comes to that. And I think football player, he knows I'm a better player than he ever was. But in terms of goals, I've always set goal. I think you need to set goals out to be able to push yourself and keep the momentum going. And I think I do have personal goals that I want to achieve by a certain time frame. And you know what? In the meantime, I think you have to look at the bigger picture, and at the same time, you have to look at the here and now. What am I going to do today, tomorrow, next week, or next month to be able to get myself to the highest level that I can be and be the best that I can be? I think it's good. I think it's good to have aspirations and goals in the future, but things change. Like the injury, it changed so much for me. And a lot of things can change and a lot of things will change. That's the unpredictability of life. And I think everybody loves that unpredictable nature. So I have goals, I have aspirations to get to the top level. And you know what? I think my short term goal and what I want to do now is just focus on my development and be the best that I can be once we get out of the situation that we're in.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, uh,
Yeah.
Amit,
So
I
you were
can't
saying,
really
so
guess.
your father just answered the question. I thought Zidane everything he knows, but I still love him.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, we lost him for a while. I'm sure he'll be back. Um,
Yeah, he'll be there. Yeah.
তো এই সময় আর কি আরো কয়েকটা কমেন্ট আই গেস পড়ে ফেলা যায় ও
Okay.
আস্তে আস্তে। রূপক হাসান যেমন আছে, জিদান লাভ ইউ, বেস্ট অফ লাক বলছে। And then Nusair Andalib as well. Do you ever get called Zinedine? And then what are your plans after you're done with football? And then Zidan Bhai, if you choose Bangladesh, your FIFA card will be one of the most sought after cards. অন্যদিকে মাইন তালুকদার বলছে, what advice do you have for one of my friend who is 32 and wants to start playing football at 32?
It's very
Uh,
difficult when you're 32.
it is আরো উপর থেকে আরো বেশ কয়েকটা কমেন্ট আসছিল। শানা বেগম, we love you and extremely proud of you. Zizu, keep up the hard work. And তারপরে comment পড়তে পড়তে Zidan is also back. We lost you
Yeah.
for
Can
a
you hear
while,
me?
but back
Sorry.
now we can hear you loud and clear. No worries. This is live, so internet can be finicky. Zidan, let's talk a bit about football. Outside of football, what you like to do in your free time, because you've had the injury, so you've probably gotten to experience the different aspects of life other than football. So
Yeah.
have you picked up on any other hobbies, maybe reading books, watching some shows, movies, playing video games, anything like that?
Just on free time, I think during the injury it was completely different because all my focus was, I need to get back. I need to be 100% again, and all my focus was just the injury. I did have a lot of free time, but I never really let myself go because in my mind, I was always focused on the injury. That's why I was able to do a 9 month injury in 4 to 5 months. But hobbies and everything like that, I think family time is very important to me, especially because I don't get when I'm training, I don't get a lot of time with my family. So on my days off or days that I can spend time with the family, I love to spend time with the family. Even doing little things like watching movies, going out to eat. I enjoy those little things. So hobbies. One of my uncles actually has told me to start reading books because I never really loved to read. But I've been reading. I've been listening to Kevin Hart's audiobook, and I think it's really really good. And other things I like watching documentaries about not just football players but other athletes. Like there's a new one up on Netflix called The Last Dance on Michael Jordan, and
Michael Jordan.
I think it shows not just I think when you get to the top level, everybody has something in common. All the top people that have made it in their industry have something in common, and I think it's nice to learn about different people's perspective on different things.
Absolutely. Amit?
Yeah. So yeah. So bringing you back in football again. So you have joined Bromley, FC
Yep.
Bromley, right? So what are the reasons behind it, and how are you coping up with your new club, and how are they treating you as well? Can you just give us insight on that?
Yeah, I mean the reason because I think they're a great club and they have aspirations to move forward, and I've seen the plans they have for the future, and I think it's very bright. Personally, I think it's a great club, and they are. If you look at their recent form in the recent season, they are definitely a club that's going places. And um, it was always my goal when I came back to England. I was never worried about getting to the top level. I always wanted to, when I came back, it was okay. You're coming back. It's going to be different. The game's going to be different. Life's going to be different. Just how quickly do you adapt? And the guys at Bromley have taken me in great. I mean, it was it was very hard because of the injury and everything
Yeah.
that happened. And because when I came back from the US, I needed international clearance, so I wasn't actually allowed to play a game with them all the way. I'd played preseason with them, and I'd played friendlies with them, but I wasn't allowed to play a game. And the international
Official
clearance,
match. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the international clearance only came a few days just before the injury, and we didn't have a game. And the first friendly I played in for Bromley, I scored a goal. So it was great. I mean, I love the teammates. I love the environment around the club, and I think the club is going great. They're doing great, and they're going to go far. And they're moving forward. So me as a Bromley player, I love the club, and you know what? It's my local club. It's only 10, 15 minutes away from where I grew up, and I think I just have to keep my head down and keep focused. And you know what? And I have to thank them, and I have to thank all the coaches there that had taken me in, especially coming from the US, and it being very different. And they gave me time to adapt, because I wasn't living with my mum anymore. I was living with my dad, and my mum and my sisters were coming and going and everything. So it was a huge change, and they allowed me that time to be able to adapt and to be able to change. And for that, I have to say a huge thank you to them.
I'm sure.
Absolutely. When it comes to your career so far, what's been your
I think he has a problem with the net.
I
Hold
think
on.
he's frozen.
Yeah. He'll be back in a way. So let's read out some comments out there in the free time. So I can see your dad wrote, "Very proud of you, Zidan," on the comment as well. Yeah. Your dad has been a key figure as far as I know. I've been in touch with him, for you as well for the
Yeah.
show. So yeah, tell us a bit more about your dad. How he has been, helpful for your career.
Oh God, where do I even start? I mean, my dad is first of all, he's my best friend. He's someone I go to if anything's wrong, and we have our little disagreements about football and about certain things. But I have to say this, I wouldn't be where I am today without my dad. And I think everybody around me knows that. My dad has made me to the person and the young man I am today. And it's not just my dad, it's my mom and my sisters and everybody, my support team around me. But I think if if my dad wasn't around, then I don't think I'd be in the situation that I'm in and the position I'm in now. And even moving forward, he's even during lockdown and everything, he's helped me with everything. And I have to say a huge thank you to my dad. And he said I had to say I love you too. But he without him, I think it's clear to everyone that I wouldn't be where I am today.
I'm sure. So Shanu, the other host, he has been going through some problem with electricity. So let's just continue with our discussion. It's so uh, as a young player, well, like it's very difficult in the lockdown. Keeping yourself fit. So what are you doing about it? Can you just share it with us, so the youngsters can follow that routine and everything.
Lockdown, it's been hard, but we've got a program from Bromley Football Club where it's going to keep us fit to the maximum level that we can be. So we're as fit as we can be when we get back. I think from the Premier League, everybody has seen that it's almost impossible to be able to replicate match fitness by yourself.
Yeah.
I've been keeping fit. I've been doing a lot of runs, a lot of 10K runs, 5K runs, stuff like that, and a lot of stuff with the ball. I think because because coming back from such a big injury, it's been hard to be able to run and do a lot of stuff on concrete because it's harder
Yeah.
on the joints. But
Yeah.
I think I've been doing the best to keep myself fit, and only time will tell whenever we get back into football. I mean, we'll see who the fittest player is.
I'm sure. And about your, we were saying the tactical and the technical side of the game, right? In
Yep.
US and England. So, you know, um, talking about coaches, I'll be talking about
Yep.
coaches. So, uh, you have a lot of coaches like Jurgen Klopp. He plays, fast forward football. Pep more of
Yep.
possession football, and Jose pragmatic football. So, which which style you prefer? Can you just let us know?
My style that I played all different types. So I played the
Yeah.
fast pace, I played the physical game, I played the possession game, I played the pragmatic game. And the one that I enjoy the most is the possession, because I think the possession and the fast-paced game, kind of a combination between the way Jurgen Klopp plays and the way Pep Guardiola plays. They're very similar, but in some ways they're quite different. But I think that allows, especially in my position, that allows the technical player to be able to play their own game basically. And if you're playing pragmatic football, I think as a winger it's hard because there's a lot of running up and down to do, and you don't get that much time on the ball. But I mean, if you put me into any type of game, any player has to deal with all different types of situations.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think my personal favorite would be possession, but I could play any.
Yeah, yeah. So talking about position, yeah. So what's your preferred position?
Preferred position has always been left or right wing. I mean, I can play in the middle. I can play as a, I've
Yeah.
played as a number 9 before. I've played as a striker, lone striker before, and I've played in the middle of the park before. I played central midfield. But if you had to ask me, and if you said Zidane, you have one game, what position do you want to play? I would
Yeah.
have to say left wing, left or right wing.
Left or right? Well, so Shanur is back. I guess he has been having some electricity problem. So,
Yeah,
sorry,
my
we can't hear you.
electricity is
Yeah.
out at the moment, so I
Oh,
decided to turn on the thing for myself.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we were talking
yeah,
about his
can I
preferred
be heard?
position. Yeah, so we were talking
That's
about
it.
his preferred position. He said it's either of the wing he prefers to play, rather than on the middle or the up front. He prefers to play right on the
Yeah.
right or left. So, Shanu, do you have any question for him as well? You're back, as you're back.
Fantastic, fantastic. Absolutely. You know, we were talking about your career, and I was wondering, do you play FIFA? Do you play any video games? Because I'm a huge FIFA fan.
Um,
So we could do like FIFA and chill
Yeah, I
maybe
mean,
sometime.
I'd always be down for that. I'd be okay with that. With the schedule that I have, it's I'm very busy a lot of the time training, and if I'm not training, then I'm doing something else. But there's always free time and downtime that I like to have. But I'm not the best at FIFA. I'm not going to say I'm the best at FIFA. I have a PlayStation. So I don't play it that much. I think during the injury, I played it a little bit, but not a lot. But I think if you wanted to play a game of FIFA, we can play.
So,
Do
I,
is
I,
on these streams, what we do is we
Shanu, there is a problem. We can't hear you.
I can't hear him.
Yeah.
did you catch what I said?
Now we can hear you. Yeah.
So usually in these streams, like we sometimes
I can't hear him.
can you
No,
hear me right now? Yeah, yeah.
no, we can't hear you.
Is it better?
We can't hear. Yeah, now it's better. Yeah, now it's better.
Okay. So usually in these streams, what I do is I play FIFA, and we go online. Obviously, when the electricity is back,
Yeah, yeah.
then things are going to be better because I'm using my mobile data, so
No, yeah,
the
it's a bit dodgy
Yeah.
connectivity might be a
compared to
little.
the Wi-Fi. So, Zidan, I had a question for you as well. Like, you know,
Okay.
come,
All right.
you
Um,
you're from a Bangladeshi origin family, right? So
Yep.
when you grow up in that family,
so
sometimes sometimes you do,
moving on to the next
sorry,
question that I had is what
Shanu,
does
we
your
can't.
football career goals? Because so you
I can't hear him.
Yeah, yeah. Hold on. Just give me a minute. Shanu, we can't hear you. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
he'll be
yeah.
back. So
I just turned off my camera. Maybe that way you can hear me better.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I can hear you now.
we can hear you better. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's why I turned off my
please,
camera. Maybe that way
yeah, yeah. Please go on.
it'll be
Please
easier.
go on with the question, please. Yeah.
Yeah. So as I was saying, um, your name's Zidan, and
Yep.
that that goes to show that your family actually had a plan to turn you into a footballer. So
Yes.
how successful, like how happy are your parents to see that they named you after a footballer and you're actually making it, and you're hopefully going to make it really big as a footballer. How does that feel? How do your parents
Um,
feel?
I think everybody around me feels very proud, and in in my eyes, I still have a long way to go. I'm only 19. I think this is only the beginning, and I have many aspirations and goals to be able to complete and do in football. But I think if you speak to them or if you speak to anybody in my family, they just say they're very proud. I mean, football is they named me after Zinedine Zidane, and but they never put the pressure on me. They never said you need to be a footballer and you need to do this and you need to do that. It was always okay. What do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? It's your choice. You don't have to be a footballer. You don't have to do certain things if you don't want to. It's all we're gonna guide you and we're gonna say what we think is best for you. But it's at the end of the day, it's my choice. If tomorrow I said to my whole family, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to play football, it would be a big shock, but they wouldn't go against it. They would say, you know what, it's your decision, it's your career, and if you don't want to do it, then we'll support you in different ways. And when I was a kid, I did many different sports. I did swimming, um, I did rugby when I was at school, I did cricket when I was at school, I did um, so many different things just to get a perspective on things. And football was always the one that I loved. So they're very proud, but then at the same time, there's none of that pressure on me um that you have to become a footballer and you have to do this and you have to do that. It's always, what, if you're gonna do it, then we'll support you the best way we can. And for that, I'm very grateful to the whole of my, not just my parents, but my whole family and my whole support network around me.
Right. So Zidan, so I have a question for you as well. Like, what's the best part about or the most enjoyable part about your development so far? Being a kid to a 19-year-old, what was the best part of your development? Like from physical stature to technical ability. What was the best part for you?
I can't say just one moment. I have to say the whole thing. I mean, if you don't love the process and if you don't love the journey, then I think you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And
Yeah, yeah.
my whole career, I've always enjoyed playing football. I've always looked forward to training. I've always wanted to be the best that I can be. So I think I can't say this particular moment was the best and this was my most favorable. I think the whole thing is just my whole career, my whole development that I've gone through to this point has been amazing, and I just want to continue it and be the best that I can be.
So,
All right.
uh,
So
yeah, Shanu, please.
yeah, yeah, I can be heard. Oh, great. Yeah, since my electricity is not back yet, so let's not use the
Yeah,
camera. I think the internet here is terrible. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Manchester United and the league this season. Obviously, Liverpool have won, and Amit, congratulations on getting married. And you said
thank you.
Oh, congratulations!
in the post that you wanted to do it before Liverpool won the title, so you got married just in the nick of time, just before
Yeah,
Liverpool won.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
It's
wanted,
Amit. It's Amit one, Liverpool one.
so I actually wanted to know about um, the season so far. Manchester United is obviously Bruno Fernandes. He came in and things are going better. but like you guys have an FA Cup match tonight in a bit. So, what are your expectations from the team this season? I want to ask Zidan in particular, and then obviously Amit as well.
Um, First of all, congratulations on your marriage. And
Thank you. Thank you. Great.
the my expectations, I think the season's almost coming to an end. I think they can still maybe clinch top four. But Chelsea are looking very very good. I think the FA Cup they can go very far. I mean, I think Manchester City will go all in for the FA Cup as well because they can't win the league and the Champions League isn't until August. So they're gonna go all guns blazing in the FA Cup. So and you still have Arsenal in the FA Cup as well. Let's not and you still have Leicester and Chelsea. So there's very very good teams left in the FA Cup. So I think they will try and win it because realistically, apart from the Europa League, it's the only cup that they can win. And I think Manchester United has always been they want to win something. They want to have something to show. A big club like that, they want to have something to show for that season of hard work, especially as difficult as this season has been. I think that they want to win something, and if it's not the Europa League, they'll try and win the FA Cup.
True.
Absolutely. Although I like how you called Arsenal a very good team, which they are this season, obviously.
Yeah,
And
yeah, he has to. He has
I,
to. He's
yeah.
he's an athlete. He has to. He might be linked with Arsenal again. So
Last time I checked, United actually knocked Arsenal out of the FA Cup last season, so who knows what happened
Yeah.
this season. So when it comes to like top four or the top five, since Manchester City might get a UEFA Champions League ban next
Yeah.
season, so what do you think? Like which teams would make it? Obviously, Liverpool are the champions, but what are the three other teams that you see finishing in the top five?
Oof. That's a hard one. I think obviously Liverpool and Manchester City are really in it because I mean there's no way Manchester City are going to drop out and Liverpool have already won the league. So those are two definite. I think Leicester could do it. I mean they won the league a few years ago, so who's to say they can't play Champions League again? And I think that would be a huge achievement for Brendan Rodgers and the whole team. I mean, if you look at where they were last season and every season since they won the league, and obviously losing such a big figure and one of their best players in N'Golo Kante and losing Riyad Mahrez, and the fact that they can still push and you know what they're back to that high level. I mean, one season they were fighting for relegation and then they clinch it by the skin of their teeth, and then the next season they win the league. And now we're talking about them for Champions League. I mean, that's a huge achievement for the club. And even if they don't make it into the top four, even if they're in the top five and they play Europa League, I think that's a huge achievement as well. Um, another another team you have to mention is Wolves. I mean, they're fifth at the moment. They could do it. Personally, I don't think they will. I think it's going to be Liverpool, Manchester City, and Chelsea. And Chelsea will be in there. Maybe Manchester United or Leicester. I'm not sold on either one yet. And obviously, being a Manchester United supporter, I'd love to say Manchester United, but Leicester have looked very good as well. So I can't pick between the two. But obviously, with Manchester City's ban that could come in, I think Manchester United could be in it.
true.
Yeah. And when it comes to United, obviously we've seen that you guys spent big on defense this season. You guys got Harry Maguire, then you got Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and obviously then you got Bruno Fernandes, and all of these signings actually worked out. Um, but what are the signings or what are the players do you think that United need to go for a title push? Because this summer transfer window, it's obviously going to be very interesting. Like you said, that the clubs that are richer are going to have a lot of ability to the best players. So, what sort of players do you think United need to go for a title push?
Oh, I think I think they're going to need a few signings, and I think they're going to need a few more years to go for a title push. I mean, if you look at if you look at Liverpool now, and then you look at Manchester United now, I think there there there's a big difference. And if you look at Manchester City and Liverpool, and look at Manchester United, there is a big difference. But I think definitely over the last few years, I think it's been really hard ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left. But the last few years or the last season, this season has looked very positive, and getting Paul Pogba back from injury and signing Bruno Fernandes and stuff like that has been very good. I think I'm not going to say what signings they need. I think the club knows. The club knows more than me. I think Ed Woodward and the Glazers family know more than me. I'd love to see someone like Jadon Sancho at Manchester United, but that's my personal preference. With him being so young and him being from Watford, and you know what, he's been very consistent in Germany, and I think everybody would love to see him in the Premier League. So I think I'd love to see Jadon Sancho at Manchester United, but then even if they don't sign him and they sign different players, I think everything's going to be different this year because of the coronavirus, and the market's going to be completely changed. So personally, I'd love to see Jadon Sancho. But if they sign any other players, obviously I'd back them up.
So Yasser Zubair Sifat is asking, do you think Ole would stay on the wheel for long? Oh, my electricity's back. Great.
Yeah, we hope so. We hope so.
um, I think he will. And it's never nice to see somebody lose their job, or somebody be rumored about losing their job. Because obviously that's their profession. That's what they do day in, day out. And I think he was a very good player, and he scored one of the biggest goals in history, winning Manchester United the Champions League. So I personally would like to see him there. I'd personally like to see him given more time. But if the club decide to change, I mean, we never know what's happening internally. We never know what's happening behind the scenes. So I think if the club were to decide to move him on, it would be for the best interests of the club. And we never know if something's being said or something's being done for a specific reason. Only the club will know that, and we're just followers, we're just supporters of the club. And I think any decision they make, we have to back them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very true. So Amit, do you have
Yeah.
any questions?
Yeah. So I had another question. Like, throughout you're just 19, so I'm pretty sure there are a lot of distractions. So a lot of distractions when you're an athlete. The
Yeah.
especially when you're US, when you're in US, and when you're in UK. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with those distractions? Just from your diet to going out with friends. How you deal with all the stuff outside football?
With football, I think it's so I can't. There's something happening. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I guess there's a. Can you talk again? Yeah. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah.
All the
So
distractions.
yeah, all those distractions you have, in UK or in the US. So how you deal with it? Like, from your diet. So I'm pretty sure you come from a Bengali family. Sometimes your mom or your dad make biryani. So right. So it's hard to say no. So how you deal with such stuff? Then, like, next day you have training. So you have a friend's birthday. You won't be able to join that friend, in his birthday. So how you deal with this
Yeah.
stuff? I'm pretty sure it's very tough. So how you deal with this? Can you just give us more insight?
It's
So, yeah.
it's very tough, but I have a very small circle around me,
Yeah.
which is my team. It's called Team Zidan. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the people that care for me and love me the most, and they always look out for me. So, and my friends and everything like that, with in terms of those distractions, everybody knows that I'm trying to be the best I can be and do something that a lot of people have failed at. And they understand it. My family understand that as well. So even on my day off and when we go out with say we go out with the family and they've made something to eat and I'm not allowed to be eating that. Everybody knows, so they'll have like if we have a family barbecue or a family picnic, they'll always have my food separate. Or they'll always take into consideration, you know what, I have training the next day. Can I stay up late? Can I not stay up late? Things like that. Everything is tailored to make me perform at the highest level. And I think not only that, you have to be strong enough. I have to be strong enough to say to myself, do I want to go out and stay up until 11, 12 o'clock when I have to be up at 5:30 the next morning? You have to make those sacrifices yourself and realize that, you know what, there's a bigger picture to everything. And I think once you realize that and once you accept that, it's very easy to make those sacrifices, because you know what, you understand that you're in it for the bigger picture.
Great. Yeah, uh, I think Shanu, I think problem with your thing.
Yeah. Is it better?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah.
I was just saying, Zidan. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I was talking to your dad as well. You're quite dedicated and disciplined as well. So your dad was saying it, and I hope you care, you stay that way. And because at the end of the day, it's all about hard work. No, there's no alternative to it. So I'm pretty sure you're in right hands when it comes to distractions and everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Gonna take this comment. My electricity is back, thankfully. So the Arsenal background's back. Prince 9 is writing, Dear Zidan, Bangladesh football ultras want you. We hope you play for our country soon. Come please, bro. Obviously, there are a lot of. I'm guessing this is an underground club that wants Zidan. But what's your aspirations? Like if you got the opportunity to play for Bangladesh, then when do you see yourself playing for the national team?
I think I have to see when the time comes, because I think every situation and every new opportunity that arises is different, especially in football. Because I can be playing for Bromley one day and then all of a sudden I'm not playing for Bromley, I'm playing for a different team. Same thing with the national team. You could be playing for, I mean, I could be playing for England, I could be playing for US, I could be playing for Bangladesh. I have the options, but I would never say never, especially with the national team, because you know what, when an opportunity does come, I think you have to look at it and you have to look at certain things with open eyes and see, you know what, is this going to be good for my career? And if it is, then why would I not take the opportunity?
Absolutely. Your popularity here is definitely there. So I'm guessing that if you were to come here, you'd enjoy your time in Bangladesh. Yeah, speaking in Bangla might be a bit of a challenge.
But
I can speak Bengali. I can speak Bengali with my grandparents and my extended family. I do speak Bengali quite often, but the only thing is the pronunciation, and sometimes because I'm speaking to my elders, like you were saying before the show, there's so many different ways you can say it, and sometimes, I mean, my family understands. Sometimes I say it the wrong way, and it can come off disrespectful, which I don't intend, obviously, but it's just the way that I've learnt the language. Sometimes I can say something to my elders that I'm supposed to say to my youngers, or vice versa.
Right. We're almost at the end of the stream. you've spoken for over an hour and 15 minutes almost. Um, One small question that I think of at this moment is that you're so well spoken. Like you're only 19, but you can talk better than most 20, 25-year-olds. So where did you get this from? Where did you get this side from? Like when it comes to like media training and things like that, did you ever have any of those things happening, or was it just a natural thing?
I think it most of it was just natural because if you spoke to me on a daily basis, this is how I would talk to you. I mean, you always have to respect anybody that comes in front of you, and you always have to make your own judgments. And I think that's the way my family raised me, and my parents raised me to always respect everybody and never burn bridges with anyone, if that makes sense. And you know what, when it came to talking to the media, I had some help from my dad at the beginning because when I was very, very young, I was put in the spotlight with media, and it was at the beginning it was quite frightening, but now it's quite simple because you know what, it's who I am, and I'm not covering over any cracks because you know if someone was to speak to me, if you were to know me on a daily basis, and if you
Mm.
were my friend, and you know what, if you were part of my family, this is the way I would talk to you, and I think anybody in my family can vouch for that because it's just the person I am. I'm a very disciplined and respected person, and you know what, if there's a new conversation that comes up, I always respect the person, and you know talk to the best of my ability.
Absolutely. Amit, do you have
Yeah.
anything to say to
So
Zidan before we end?
before you go, I have just two small questions.
Go ahead.
Your favorite number and your favorite food. Just let us know about that.
Um, Favorite number is of course number seven. I mean, I was born on the 7th of March, so ever since I
Oh
was young,
wow, really?
I was born
Um,
on the 7th of March.
oh,
So
I was born the
I
next day, 8 March.
wow, small world.
Yeah.
I think the years might be a little bit different. I was born in 2001, so
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah. So my favorite number for me has always been number seven. Even when I was really young, I used to have my name put on my football boots, and I used to have number seven on there because I mean I have a reason. Some people say
Yeah.
they like number seven because of Cristiano Ronaldo, or they like number seven just because they like it. I have a reason for liking number seven. Um, and favorite food, I have to say, I have a very strict diet because obviously all the training, and you have to be very disciplined in that aspect. And it is very hard with my grandmother's cooking. I mean, it's when I eat it, it's amazing. But like her biryani or her meat curry or stuff like that. I I can't remember the last time I had a biryani or meat curry, but I think my favorite food. I don't get to have it as often as I would like, but I have a very strict diet plan where I'm only allowed to eat whatever I want once every couple of weeks. So I think my favorite food has to be some of my grandmother's cooking. I mean, it's the exact opposite of what I'm allowed. I'm allowed either chicken or fish with vegetables and salad, and hers is like completely oily, and it's just, I mean, it's nice to taste, but afterwards you can feel it the next day when you're at training.
True, true.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Zidan, before we end the stream, would you like to send the viewers a message in Bangladesh? And if you want to say a few words in Bangla, you could try.
Yeah.
No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah.
Okay, I'll say it in Bengali, but I have to say I don't mean to offend anyone or disrespect
No, no, no,
anyone.
no. Nobody's going to be offended in this stream. No worries.
Just like সকালে thank you আমার ইন্টারভিউ দেখছো আর ধন্যবাদ আমার জার্নি ফলো করা ইনশাল্লাহ দোয়া করিও ইনশাল্লাহ একদিন আইমনে বাংলাদেশও আর just thank you, that's all.
All right, Zidan, it's been a pleasure talking to you. In fact, even though my electricity went and then I had to improvise and try and figure things
No
out,
problem.
you were fantastic. In fact, and I felt like I was talking to a seasoned pro who has done this sort of thing a lot. You made me feel like I was like feeling a bit nervous during the beginning. You made me feel more comfortable as the interview went on. So thank you so much for that.
Thank
You
you.
are most welcome to join us on our shows during our FIFA streams, maybe during our game watch-alongs. Maybe we do one or two every day. So if you're
No
free and
problem.
if you have time, you can just join
Yeah.
us for a few minutes, say hi, hello, and we'll be really glad to have you along with us. Amit knows
Yeah.
about our live stream, so
Yeah.
he joins in.
Yeah.
He's more
It
or
was
less
it
very.
was it was great having Zidan. I just contacted him last week, and thank you
Yeah.
for showing up. And
Yeah, and
No
thank
problem.
you, Amit, because you managed this. So
no
it was
problem,
fantastic
no
that you
problem.
contacted me. You could have gone elsewhere, but thank you so much for giving me this opportunity as well.
No problem.
So
And for
I
Zidan,
owe you.
no problem. And as for Zidan, we hope you get back early from and you recover well. And we look forward to see you play for Bromley and do your best. And we expect you to do uh, tremendously well and we expect you to be in touch with us as well, so we can for the people in Bangladesh, you have a lot of fans out here, and let's hope in the coming future we'll do another show, where
No
you'll
problem.
say, I played my first match. I'm back from injury, so we're
Yeah,
looking forward
no
to that.
problem. No problem. Yeah, I'd love to play the FIFA, and I just need to keep training and working hard.
Yeah.
And we'll see when preseason comes and when the season starts, I'll be ready. The injury, I mean, it's all put aside now, and everything's good to go. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So it was a pleasure having you.
whenever we get the
Thank
green light,
Yeah, thank you,
no problem. Thank you for having me.
and
Thank you.
thanks,
Thank you.
Amit, as well.